What a whirlwind of an offseason that it has absolutely been. I mean, we talk about teams going out and doing a lot of different things. We talk about the Jets, who might not actually be the worst team in the NFL anymore, even though actually the Jets, low-key, if Zach Wilson pans out, he could be something. The Jets could be something special, excuse me. But we're not here to talk about the Jets. We're here to talk about the Las Vegas Raiders and the fact that this team is building something. It's building something. Now, I do think it's important to note that I understand that the fact that, you're in a tough division, you got to play against teams like the Chiefs. Also, I got to be honest with you, the Chargers and Broncos, they're going to be tough. There's no way around it. But I do think it's important. Actually, we're going to fix this. I'm sorry, this looks a little crooked for us. There we go. You're in a tough division. I get it. You're going against three Pro Bowl quarterbacks potentially. Well, it is three Pro Bowl quarterbacks. Any way you look at it. You're probably playing in the toughest division in football, but for me, what the Raiders have done this offseason, it's been great. I think there was a clear-cut goal. There was a clear-cut, hey, this is what we need to do to compete, and that's exactly what they did. We talk about, for me, it actually, if we're being honest, it really all started with bringing in Bilal Nichols. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, why would it just start with bringing in a defensive tackle? What was the one thing? The one thing that this defense on the Raiders lacked, it was, if you ask me, it was an interior presence. I know Jonathan Hankins was back there. He was supposed to be something special, and I think he still can be with the Raiders. But there was one thing specifically that the Raiders were lacking. And to me, it was that inside presence. You bring in Bilal Nichols, who honestly was a guy that can bring you that 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 sack type performance on a year of an interior presence that you need. You obviously had Unique Ngakoue, you had Max Crosby, you had all those guys, but you're bringing in an interior guy that can hold his own in the run game, can bring it in the pass game as well. That was it. But then you talk about the trade for Davante Adams. You talk about the signing of Chandler Jones. You talk about all they did in terms of bringing in corners. That was one thing that got me. There were a lot of outlets that I had seen that were kind of puzzled that the Raiders didn't do anything with corners. They got Rock Ya-Sin, who I think is going to be a very good player in this league still. I think there's still a lot of hope. They got Deron Harmon, who's probably going to be that third safety that we know Patrick Graham loves to have. I'm fully not ready to give up on a guy like Trayvon Mullen Jr. yet. Absolutely not. This guy is still a very talented player in this league, and I full-heartedly believe there's still something there that they could go ahead and not only salvage. I don't even think it comes down to that. I think he's going to be it's going to be one of those things. He's going to be healthy. He's going to be in a new scheme with a new coaching staff. I love it. Nate Hobbs, one of the best interior corners. I can never remember. It's a slot corner, Colton. Come on. But he's one of the best slot corners in the entire NFL. You got, honestly, that defensive line, like we touched on, Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, Bilal Nichols, Jonathan Hankins. Oh, and by the way, also, Cleveland Farrell might have kind of a rebound season in terms of playing a different position. And honestly, I could see a possibility where he comes in and has a 5 to 8 sack season and does find a way to sign a cheap deal with the Raiders. I could see it. Absolutely. Then you also double down on defensive tackle in the draft, bringing in guys like Matthew Butler, also Neil Farrell Jr. I combined them there, Matthew and Neil. Anyway, you bring in those guys through the draft. You also bring in Dylan Parham along to help shore up that offensive line. You got Andre James in there, who actually played like a top center towards the end of the season. Thank you to those of you that reminded us of that. We can forget that. Also, Derek Carr, Davante Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Brian Edwards, Darren Waller. Well, Brian Edwards, we'll see what happens. But Darren Waller, love it. I just love it. I feel like this offense is ready to finally take off. A lot of it does depend on the offensive line. I think Dylan Parham, in my opinion, should come in and start right away, but we'll see what happens. And I feel like at the end of the day, the Raiders are in a spot where they could do some special things. And I really am excited to see what it does. And I think they are building something. They are in a position where, the biggest question to me, again, was that interior presence. But I do think what it comes down to is the fact that this team is ready to make some noise and that they're building something. I think that defense, we have said it from the very beginning. The offense really wasn't a concern to us. They were going to put up points. They were going to do their things for a while. I know last year they kind of struggled with some things last year, but you lost everybody. All praise are for everyone in the Henry Ruggs situation. But after that happened, you had Darren Waller was out for a little extended period of time. You had Hunter Renfrow, who was honestly just trying to fend for himself out there. Still had a big time season and can be a big time talent for the Raiders. You had Josh Jacobs in the backfield who had some injury problems. Kenyon Drake had to step up. Now you got Samir White. Just top to bottom, this roster is ready. It's building something. I think, again, this offense was, it wasn't the problem last year. This defense has historically been the problem for the Raiders. And now you're in a spot where this, I'm not kidding, this defensive line for the Raiders could be very underrated. You talk about, again, Max Crosby, Chandler Jones. Also, nobody talks about Kyler Fackrell, another Office reference, by the way, that we have tried to just give this guy some props. And I think, another guy is Malcolm Kuntz. Like this edge class for the Raiders, this current edge talent on the Raiders roster right now is underrated, and I think it could definitely surprise a lot of people. Again, Denzel Perryman revived his career with the Raiders. Jayon Brown is going to be a guy that I think combines and does contribute a lot more. Also, Divine Diablo, former third-round pick out of last year, playing like his head's on fire. I love it. I think he's going to be a guy that does come in and do a lot of great things as well. So just top to bottom, there was the one thought. I'm like, okay, what do the Raiders need to do? What do they, what did they need to bring in the offseason? You talk about interior defensive line help. They got that in spades with Bilal Nichols. Also, again, Neil Farrell Jr. And Matthew Butler and all that. Dylan Parham to help shore up that offensive line. Also, Theron Munford might be able to play right tackle. Like, he could also play guard. I'm excited to see what he does. So just top to bottom, you ask yourself, what are the Raiders building? And they're building something special, and I'm really excited to see how it all does come together for the season. But let us know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truthfully awesome. We love every single one of you. In the description down below, you'll find all of our social media platforms. Give us a like and a follow there. Also, remember to give us a listen and sub on iTunes. And finally, if you have anything else you'd like us to cover, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com or put in the comment section down below, and we would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think about the Las Vegas Raiders building something.